So guys, welcome back to a new video. In this video, I'm going to solve another room of junior pen tester path of TryHackMe. On beforehand, I am saying that this video is going to be lengthy because we are going to use some SQL queries in this lab. We are going to learn about select, union, delete, and adding codes of SQL. And I won't be showing you the solution of task 8, that is blind SQL time based, because I am still solving this task due to the lack of codes. You can just try the codes I'm going to show you in the boolean based. It's already shown by TryHackMe. You can just tweak these codes a bit with the slip command shown in task 8 to get your solution. I will post a small video regarding the solution of that, or you can just get to the GitHub and grab the cherry tree file of mine having the write-ups. I will provide the GitHub link in the description too. I've already posted the file in which I have the write-ups or the flags, you can say. So for now, let's just start with the brief. I've already started the machine here and I'm connected to the OpenVPN service TryHackMe servers. So now it's a brief. It's teaching us what is SQL, and we are mostly going to learn about SQL injection, SQLI in short. This room is going to teach us about basic SQL commands, how to detect vulnerabilities regarding SQL and how to exploit them, and as a developer how we can protect them. So first of all, it's asking for what does SQL stands for. So it stands for Structured Query Language. Let me just paste it here. Now for the task 2, it says what is a database and what are tables, what are rows and columns. You can just have a look, or in short we can say database is a server hosted on a hosting service, and there we can have multiple different databases, whether hosted on built on MySQL or PostgreSQL or SQLite. It depends on the user or the developer. Now the database name can be shop, staff, or accounts, or anything whatever you have kept as, and each database has a some amount of tables. If I just show you in a diagram, so now if I just want to demonstrate, if I have a database named office, I'm sorry for this type of writing. So if I have a database named office, I'm going to have a many number of different types of tables. So I can have a tables formed from my employee, in which let me just write employee, and another table of related to accounts, I guess, as we are a company or office. I may have another table related to products, what we are going to, or what we manufacture from a certain number of time. So now each table will have its own data. Like for employee, if I just say, we will have a ID like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. We may have another column of first name, last name, like if I say just first name, last name, and E for email. I may have phone numbers in it. So this is a table which is a part of a database. So table consists of rows and columns. When we take the section vertically, it is referred to as column. So in this case, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows also. So for more understanding, I will increase the number of rows here. So now we have 6 number of rows and 5 number of columns. So rows and columns make up a table in which in our case is named as employee, and number of tables make up a database in which in our case is office. So in this lab or room, we will learn how to access or know the database name first in case, then after that know the name of table present in it, and after that the data inside the table, and how we can just find the username or the password and login as a user in the login section. I hope you understood this. If I was not so much clear, the TryHackMe section will make it clear to you, or you can also refer to a YouTube video. I will post this video without editing, as this video is going to be long and it will take much time to edit also. So I'm really sorry for that in advance. So now it's asking what is the acronym of the software that controls a database. So database is controlled by database management system, that is DBMS. And what is the name of the grid-like structure which holds the data? So the grid-like structure is known as tables. So table consisting makes data in rows and columns make up tables. Tables make up database, and database makes up database servers. Sorry, database are kept in database servers. So now it's saying what is SQL. So in this one, we are going to learn about many SQL commands like select, and then followed by union. We will also learn about insert, update, and delete in short. So first, what is select? So the select query is used to retrieve data from the database or the table we are going to act upon or deal with. So the select star from users, as we already know that star refers to a wildcard type entry. It means retrieve all the data present there or access all the data present. In Linux, when we delete something, we also write rm space asterisk, which means delete everything present in that directory. So in SQL also, asterisk means the same thing, means access all the things. And instead of rm in Linux for deleting, we are using select in SQL to access all the data present there. Now from user means select all the data from the meaning in English only users. So users is referred to as the database. And no, that's it. And here we have a database named user having this content. We have a column name ID, another column name username, another column named password with the entries in it. If I show you in this case, there are 3 columns and 4 rows. So now if I just want to print the username and password on the screen but not the ID, so what I can do in that case, we will just write select username and password from the database naming users. So it will just print the user and password on the screen. Now if I again want to access each and everything, means every column present in the table, here the table name is not shown. It's working directly under the database. It means there is only one table present in this database. So this statement means select everything from the database named user and limit it to only one line or one row, you can say. So it will just print the first row of the database or the table, you can say, as it's having only one table inside the database named user. I'm repeating it again and again. The database name is users and the table name is not given, as it has only one table, and they didn't find it necessary to give a name. So never mind, we will see that in the another task. So the limits the output to 1, or you can say 1 comma 2, it will print first and second. If I just say 1 2 1 comma 2 comma 3, it will print the first 3 rows. We will also see how we can modify limit 1 to print something else, like if we just give two types of input. um if I just erase everything, it will take time. So text currently we have seen limit 1. Let me just copy and never mind. Why is it in typing? Okay, so we have seen the type limit 1 in this case, so it will print the first row, and when we will write limit 1 comma 2, it will print the first 2 rows on the screen. Now there is something like if I do 5 followed by 10, so it will skip the first. I guess it was not comma. Let me just have a quick look. So yes, it's comma only. I'm sorry, I just told it if we write 1 comma 2, it will print first 2. But no, for printing first 2 rows, we can just write 2, and for printing first 5, we can just write 5. And now if we just write comma 5 comma 6, then it will read it as skip the first 5 rows and print the next 6 rows present in the table. So let's just get back to the TryHackMe, and you can just read it, and it explains very well here. If not, you can just refer to a YouTube video. And now we will learn how to access a particular username. So select star means it will access all the data from the database or table where username is admin. So it will search for it. If it finds a username admin, it will print all the data related to it on the screen. Similarly, when we say username not equal to admin, then it will search for it in the database, and if admin is found, then that data will be excluded and the rest the data will be printed on the screen. And next is username is admin and password is John, or sorry, username is admin or username is John, then it will print data related to both of them. Next one is username is admin and password is this only. In some cases developers may take input as the login form may have an email, username and password. So in that case, many users can have same username and passwords too in some cases. So in this case, it's referring to we should have the name admin and password, then only the data will be printed. It's mainly related to having a check for a roll number in institutional cases. Like if I forget my roll number, I will enter my username and password, and it will check for it and print everything. Then it will return the roll number ID on the screen. So next is where username like a percentage sign. So as we learned in the find command room, let me just go to TryHackMe, the find command. I solved this room too. You can just find the video, or it will be shown in the I button above. So here the asterisk is a wildcard entry, means anything starting with any letter, any word, and ending with .xml will be founded and printed on the screen. Next was exploits will be in between, and it is not necessary whether it starts with something or not, or ends with something or not. It will search for everything, so it doesn't matter what is the characters before and after the word exploit. So here asterisk was a wildcard entry, or sorry, not a wildcard entry but a wildcard character. I went into a reality show. Sorry. So here percentage is the wildcard character. So it says the server that return everything which starts with A in username and ends with whatever. I don't mind. So it returns the field with admin. So here it says username wildcard in the starting and ending with n. That means the n should be at last, and whatever be the character before it, I want the data related to them. That's why I print John, admin, and Martin on the screen. And we can also place the character in between, and wildcard on both the ends, means I need this character in between, whether the word is anything, it will show it. So it was mi, so mi is within admin, so it get printed. Now the union is used to get the result of two or more different data or tables in single database. So here we had it shows an example of two different databases related to employee name and suppliers detail. So now if I want to print everything present in both the tables in single command, so we will use select as we want to fetch or access the data, name, address, city, postcode. These are the column names, and the restriction is that the data must be of same type, I guess. Let me just have a check. So here it says the column have to be of similar data type and the column order has to be the same. So it says select name, address, city, postcode, means details from the employee one. From customers is the database name, or table name in this case. Customers and suppliers are the table names, and union for joining, combined printing. Select details from suppliers, so this detail and it will be printed together. So now insert is used to insert another data inside our table. So as you can see, insert into users. In this you can refer it to as table name user. So what we want to insert and where. So first we will tell I want to insert in username and password, and the values will be Bob, and this will be the password. So here it got stored in it. Now if you want to update, means I don't want to delete but change just the password or something, that's in case of forgot password. So the query will be update users. I'm going to update the users table, set username root and password as pass123, where admin is earlier used to be admin. So it will search for username admin here, and it will replace it with root, and the password will be replaced by pass123, as you can see in this case. Now the delete is used whenever we delete our account, the query must be deleted from the database. So in that case it will be delete from user, where username is Martin. So it will delete the Martin field from the database. Now if you want to delete everything in this table, we will run the command delete from users, and everything will be deleted from the database or the table. So now the question is, what SQL statement is used to retrieve data? Just a minute. Yes, I'm back. So that will be select, and now it's ask what SQL clause can be used to retrieve data from multiple tables. So that is union. And next one is what SQL statement is used to add data. So that's insert. I will just write in all small insert. So now our task 4 is what is SQL injection. So it says we have a website running at this IP. If I just copy this, or about the IP we will learn in band SQLi. So it says if we have a website having news articles or blogs, then if I have 5 blogs, it will be shown with ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or we can access it using that ID. And the query will be like this: select star means everything from the database or table. So here select star from blog, where ID equal to 1, private equal to 0, limit it to 1, means split only the first row. And if it doesn't matter if our blocks are private or public, so this was by default query. If the blog is public, it will be represented. If private, it will not be presented on the screen. So if we just change this query to ID equal to 2, semicolon represents the end of query, and this double hyphen represent that everything after this will be commented out. As in Python we do double slash, and in C we can give it as a slash asterisk. So in SQL it's double hyphen to comment out everything written after this. So when the database will read select star means access everything from blog where ID equal to 2, and it won't check for private equal to 0. That means if the blog is set to private, means not ready for public use, it can't read that, and it will show the article on the page. So this is the type of SQL injection. Now developers can restrict this using the filtering the queries sent to the database. Now it's asking what character signifies the end of SQL query. So that's a semicolon. So now next start, that is task 5. So in this we will learn about in-band SQL injection. So for in-band SQL injection, so it says that this is one example of SQL injection vulnerability of a type in-band SQL. So getting the data from the servers or the database without the permission, or executing some vulnerable codes, that's the in-band SQL. We will learn more detail in task 5. So now it says what is in-band SQL injection. So it is the easiest to detect and exploit. It just refers to the same method of communication being used to exploit the vulnerability. It's basically extracting data from the database on the same page which we are on currently. For the error-based SQL injection, when the server shows some type of error, we just modify our codes and run it again. It shows some another error, we modify it again, and when we get the value true, we come to know that this type of data is present in the database. For the union-based SQL injection, we will learn detail below. So it says that we will learn to use a select statement along with union. In this case, it shows us a practical in which we have a machine running on the IP 10.10.157.270 in my case, and it will be different on your case. So as you can see, it's on level 1. I've completed 3 till level 3. That's why it's showing blue up to this. So for the level 1, it's based on error-based SQLi. This is our web browser. It's a dummy type or demo type web browser we are given with, and we need to exploit this and get the password of the Martin, user Martin. So now it says we can first try the union operator, or sorry, for checking if this server is vulnerable to SQL, we need to add a quotation mark, whether single quote or double quote at the end of the query. So that is id equal to 1. I will add a single quote and press enter. So we will get the error that is the syntax is wrong for SQL. So that means this server is vulnerable to SQL injection. So we will first try union operator so that we can receive extra. Let's just try this one union, select one. Just shift it here. So it will state that the select statement have a different number of columns. That means the number of columns present in the database is not 1. It's more than that or less than that. So it says further to try with 1 and 2 if it has 2 columns in it. Now it says still it has different number of columns, so it tells us to proceed with 3. So yes, there are 3 columns and we are provided with our first article that has article ID 1. We used union because we wanted to print the article with ID 1 and check for the number of columns present in the database or the table. So one union select 1, 2, 3 runs successfully without an error code. So now it says to get around that we need to first query to produce no result. If we already know the answer is yes and we are testing on it, it will always return yes due to the first query. So if the first query returns no and the second query returns yes using the union command, then we are sure that our data after the union is correct. Then we can modify it for both true statements. In this case we had id equal to 1 and we have 3 columns in it. That in this case both are true. That's why we got our first article. If I just remove this whole thing from union, in this case our first query is correct, means it returns true. That's why we are having our data. So having true by default and checking it for error is not correct. That's why we will make this 1 to 0, as id never starts with 0 in SQL. I'm sorry, I just wrote 10. So if first query is wrong and second query is right, so it will return true. By that we can conclude that we have a successful SQL injection and we can modify the code to gain the data. So if we run this, it returns article to ID 1, 3. So now we are going to run a 0 union select 1, 2 to check for the database. So for getting the database, we are running this query, that is database bracket. So it returned with SQL underscore 1. So SQL underscore 1 is the name of database. And now we are going to deal with this SQL1 and gain the username, or the name of columns present in it. And id 0 is printing 2 because we have 2 rows present in it. That's why select 1, 2 is running perfectly fine and returning true in our case. So the first line represent there are 2 number of rows, and the table name is SQL_1 and it has 2 column all. So next for retrieving the table details or gather the list of tables present in the database server, we need to run this command. It's explained pretty well here. You can just have a look. I will just run the command here itself. So it says that there are 2 tables present in this database. One is article and another one is staff users. So from this we can come to an outcome that here in article ID 0 we have 2 different articles, and the union select 1 and 2 states that we have 2 different tables present in this database. Now further it says we have to run this command to access staff users table from the database. So let's just run this. I guess I messed up the code. Yeah, I messed up with the code. Let's just check for the URL again. Let's just open this URL again in the browser. So we'll just copy the code for table staff users and we will run this. So this returns the name of the columns present. So the columns present are ID, password and username. So the next code will print all the username and their password on the screen from the table staff users. As I said, the code is explained pretty well in the description itself. You can just have a look. So it says that there are 3 rows in this table: admin password, Martin password and Jim bug123. So the for password of Martin is pass having $sign in it. We just enter the password here and click on check password. So yes, it's correct password and we are on level 2 and we have our flag here for this task. So now in task 6, it is another blind SQL based on authentication bypass. In this, if the server returns true, we are gaining access to that login section. So it says if we run select star from users username and password followed by password, limit it to 1. It's by default the query here. So yes, if we enter something here, that will be feeded as our SQL query in the username and password, it will feed it. So it's nothing but the SQL query that is being generated by this section. I will just remove this for now and says that inverted comma or 1 equal to 1 semicolon and followed by a double hyphen will comment out everything after this. So this returns true in SQL query. That means if user's name is blank, and in case of password, if we return this, the password is returned true and the server will think that we have entered correct password and it will give us the access. So if we just write it here and click on login, we will get the login for level 3 and we have our flag here. So now it's time for task 7, that is boolean based. by the name boolean, it is clear to us that the output, or we can say response of the database server, will be in true, false, yes or no, on, off, 1 or 0. So in this case, if we just go and visit the web page, the response is in true and false. It's using an API which checks for username present in admin. This is used when we create an username on different websites. So the API just calls from the database and checks if the same username is present. It will return false, and we will get an error message to change our username. And if it's not present there, sorry, if it's present there, the server will return boolean value true. So the web page will tell us to change our username, and if it's not present in the database server, the server will return false. Then the web page will say that you can take this username as it is available for you. We're going to use that thing only in this SQL injection. We will check for username and password directly from the database, and if it returns true, then that will be used in this login form. So it says we will proceed with using this query, that is select all from users, where username will be something, using the wildcard within the word username, and the limit is 1. By the URL, it is clear to us that username admin is present in the backend. That's why it is returning true. If I just add the single inverted comma, it will return false, and error that the syntax is wrong for SQL. That means this server is vulnerable to SQL injection. So now I will just change to admin123. It will not show any error. Our query will become like this, and it shows false, means this URL is not taken. But for admin only, the URL is taken and it's present in the database server. That's why it's returned true. So we will first make the output false, and we will test the second parameter. If that returns true, we can go for the third parameter. If that also returns true, we will keep on adding that in our payload. So in this case, first we will start with a union select 1 for checking the number of tables present in the database named user. So we will first proceed with admin123. If I just add a single inverted comma, it will return a syntax error. That's what we want. So we'll just leave it there as it returns false, and we will write union followed by select and 1, and neglect everything after that. I'm just using the commands here only, so it returns false and says that the select statement have a different number of columns. Here I'm using this command only. I'm not writing or inventing any command. So next we will try using it with 1 2 3. We can also just run, it's type of brute forcing, guessing. If I just run it with 2, it will show false and error. So then with 3, it won't show any error, and we will have a value of true. Since we are having this value as false but this value is true, means we have got a correct response for the select number of columns. So we will keep it as 1 2 3, and now we will brute force or try to guess the name of the database. So we can use the wildcard. So if we just copy this wildcard without anything text character, it means we are checking for anything present as a database name. Let me just remove this. So it says yes, there is a database in this database table, sorry, in this whole database present, and now we want to search for the name. If I just do s in front of this, small s, so it will return true, means the database name is starting with s. Further, upon testing and brute forcing, we can go for this second letter as SA, SB, SC, further. So if we return SQ, it will return true again. That means the server name is starting from SQ and some other characters at the end. So it says that the server name, sorry, not the server name, but the dataset or the table name is SQLi underscore 3. So we'll just copy and paste it here. It will return true. So we got our database name. Now it's time for the table name. So for the table name, we are going to use information schema.table, in which the database name is SQLi3 and the table name starts with A and having a wildcard means anything at the end. So let's just copy this and paste it here. So it returns false. That means our database or table name doesn't start with A. On further checking, you can know that it's not starting from I also. Let's just check. So our database table name starts with U. That is users. If you want, you can just have a look. If I write U and press enter, we get a value true. That means we have a table name starting from or column starting from U. Name is user. For that means its name is users. Yes, it's true. Now further, the table name is users inside the database SQL3. Now we'll check for column name. Same method, that is brute forcing or guessing. We'll check for each and every letter of alphabet. Let me just, sorry. We just paste the code here and press enter. That returns false means the column name is not starting with A. We will go on, keep on testing, and we will come to know that the column name starts with I. So it returns true and its name is ID. Yes, the first column name we got is ID. So now we will just exclude that column name and search for anything else. So it will check for column name like A followed by percentage, that is wildcard, and not equal to ID. So it will neglect the ID. As we have already tested till I, it's not recommended to test that alphabet again. So I will just first copy it here, and now I will just change to U. We will get a true. Yes, and the second database name is second column name is username. We return true. As we already know, there are 3 columns here. So now we will just add this as a not equal to username and search for third one. We will get it as password. And now it says after 3 times we will come to know that there is ID, username and password available as a column name in our table users in database SQLi3 underscore 3. So next is the time for checking username present as A. As we already know, we have a username as admin, that we don't need to check for it. That's why it's running a first statement wrong followed by username as admin. As we already know, admin exists, and password like A because we don't know the password. So I will just run this command at the end. So it returns true. But it should return false in this case. What is it returning true? The username admin and password like A, because password is not starting with A. It should return false in this case. I guess I messed up with the Yes, I messed up with the input, that's why it's returning true in this case. Should be pasted from here. So the password doesn't starts with A, that's why it's returning false, but we already know that the username is admin. So just keep on checking, and in numbers it will return true for 3, then for 8 it will return true, then for 4 it will return true, then 5 it will return true. And if we remove the wildcard from the end, it will still return true. That means the password for admin is 3845. We just write it here and the password will be 3845. This would take a much longer time when we will do that by our own. So our flag is THM SQL injection 1093. Now we are going to do another blind SQL injection, but based on time, not on Boolean, because the server is not responding us with a Boolean data whether we have that in our backend or not. So for that we are going to use a slip command, or you can say slip function present in SQL. If the data is found in the backend, the query will wait for few seconds, whatever we assigned, whether 5, 10 or 20 seconds, and it will then respond to us on the same screen. For that we can just copy this here and we run this here. So admin 123, a single star for checking SQL error. If I just do it from beginning, whatever we learned from start, if I run admin 123, it won't show any error here. It shows okay, means nothing is found or vulnerability is executed, and the request time is 0.001. That means 0 seconds at overall. Now if I just do single inverted comma, it will return a value or error for the syntax of SQL. Now finally we will paste this. Select sleep timer is 5, means if any query is found successful, it will wait for 5 seconds, then respond to us. So we will, when we run select with sleep, it's checking for first row only. Now we will test for second row. It returned our request okay after 5 seconds, as you can see. That means there are only 2 columns or 2 databases, you can say. Sorry, I just messed up. That's why it responded after 5 seconds. Same we can refer to a code. I'm just made it. Let me just copy that code. We got our columns name, or you can say 2 servers, 2 columns, what I think in a few cases. Now we want to check for the database name. So we will use the previous command as shown. I will just paste it here. I'm going to use this payload. It says where database, for checking the database name like you. So it will test for you if present or not. Just remove this. So it returned in 0.01 second, 001 second. That means it's not present there. when u is modified with s, it will return response after 5 seconds. That means the database name starts with s. We have to do everything based on this boolean based code. We just need to modify the code and add the sleep command, sleep 5, so that we can come to know that this query is present in the backend. And now I was pretty sure, as the earlier database name was SQLi3, its name should be SQLi_4. Sorry, SQ, not U, but Li. So that this will also respond in 5 seconds, as this is the database name. So now we have our database name, that is SQLi4. Now we need to check for the table name, means what tables are present in this data server. So for that we need to modify the payload. Let me just show it to you. So in this case we are going to use this payload. We already have our database name, so admin123, this will return false, union select 2, as we have 2 columns. From information schema dot tables to gain the table name, where table schema means our database name is SQLi4, and checking for table name like A. If found, it will respond in 5 seconds. If not, it will respond in 0 seconds. Let's just paste it here. I guess it just got stuck somewhere. So this is the way we have to just check for the username, or whatever be the column name. We need to find that first. That we already know our database name, that is SQLi4. We need to search for the table name, and then we should go for the columns followed by the username and password present there. So when we will enter the username and password, you will have the credentials. You can just go. I will just leave it to you, and I will provide the solution if I just do that today. Now for the task 9, it is out of band SQLi. So it says name a protocol beginning with D that can be used to exfiltrate data from database. That will be DNS, that's domain name system. And the task 10 is remediation. Says about what is remediation: prepared statements, input validation, escaping user input. So now we need to name a method of protecting yourself from a SQL injection payload, that is prepared statements. Hope you will solve this task 8 by yourself. If not, you can just hop into the Discord server, and you can take help from others, or I will tell you the flag there only. So, or on the other hand, you can still refer to the GitHub. I will push the flag if I found that in this time. So see you in the next video. Till then, stay safe and happy, and don't forget to subscribe this channel. Thank you.